Hi everyone, welcome to this session of GST Filing Made Easy. My name is Akshatha, I'm the founder of Cosme by Kias, and we have Hemant Nagpal from Gurugram, who's the founder of YourBooks and Pi Infosystems. Now, before we begin this session, I would like to set the intention very straight. The intention of this session is to educate new business owners and existing business owners on how they can make the GST filing more easier and friendly for a non-accounting person. Now, I am an engineering graduate. It's been 6 years into business, and a lot of times I have to had change CAs or, go back and forth with Excels again and again, giving them explanation, trying to fill out the details, missing out on details. And this has been for quite some time till I came across Hemant, and I thought that this is something that everyone needs to know. And that is why we are here today. So when I started business, a quick short journey. When I started business, I knew nothing about accounting. I had to go through 3 different CAs, and I recently changed one a couple of months back because it was always very confusing and nobody really guides you. So, and there are a lot of people telling you a lot of things and you don't really know. But over the years, I've understood that knowing your finance, knowing your money is the prime importance of, you getting sales or doing business. Please welcome Mr. Hemant Nagpal, who's joining us. And thank you, Hemant, for being here. And Hemant, let's have a quick introduction, please.
Sure. Hey guys, I am Hemant Nagpal, majorly a techie engineering graduate, and I've been into development for all my career long. Like it's been 20 years I've been into the industry, and I spent a couple of years in US, 1 year in UK as well, then came back to India. Then I have spent 15 years in multiple MNCs, and then some time with the domestic company also. And then I started my own venture 5 years back. And then when I started this venture, I came across some problems like what people face doing this accounting and then doing all the compliance with your business. So, this idea struck me out. Why not develop something which can help people doing everything the way they want? Or I feel running a successful business, everyone should be on top of their numbers, at least for the business, like whatever the sales is and what are the targets, what expenses they're bearing and what is the profit they're making. If you're on top of it, top of your numbers, I think that's the mantra of a successful business. I would say that.
Absolutely.
So, while struggling with these accounts and CAs, we get into a team and we develop something which can help understanding what accounts are and make it easy to understand rather than, there are hell lots of typos and then, all that happens when you exchange information manually, either emails or when you're extracting some information from your system and sharing it with your CA, that's hell of a work. When will you focus on your own business? If you get stuck with these things, right? So, I felt there is a need of some system. Anyone who can use Gmail should be able to use the system.
Something very simple and easy.
Yeah.
So can we start with going with the basics of, let's say, we have 38% of people who are our new business owners. So there's a lot of question regarding, should I register myself for GST or not? And I think this is one of the very common questions that a new business owners have is, should I register my GST? Because, okay, this says that, you don't have 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs turnover. So why should you register for a GST? Let me tell you, you will hear a lot of people saying that don't register for a GST and it's absolutely fine. But when you in long run, it is going to hurt you a lot. The day you decide that, yes, I want to, run a business, go and register as a GST business owner, because any money that is coming in or going out, and when you're filing your GST, you get something as a credibility for your business. I've seen a lot of people, who's just are working with their savings account, taking phone pay, Google Pay. But when they come to a stage, let's say 1 year, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, when they want to expand their business, and then they say, okay, now I need a bank loan. Government has a lot of schemes, in terms of having MSME has a lot of schemes. When you have Udyam, you get in a lot of schemes, and flexibility and features are available to people. But these people who don't have GST can't avail that, because even for them, you need transaction credibility, business credibility, that yes, you did, XYZ turnover, you did some sales, you did some purchase. And paying GST is not paying extra tax money to the government. It's just showing that you are doing some sales and you are doing some purchase. So in case you don't have a GST, first thing is register GST. It's really important. You are building a credibility that will help you grow further. Okay. Now the second question is, I have a GST number. When should I file my GST? So there is purchase and there is sales. I will be posting questions and Hemant will be answering, because he is an expert. Now I have my GST number. I've started, doing some purchases, giving my GST number, and doing some sales where I am, charging the customer a GST amount. What next? When should I file? What is the last date, and how do I go forward with it?
Beautifully explained the need of GST. Another thing, why would you like to miss the opportunity to work with big firms? Like, there are a hell lot of firms which will not allow a new company to get registered as a vendor if you don't have a GST number with you. So why nobody would like to miss these kind of opportunities? If you have been working to the business for 1 or 2 years or 3 years, I mean, why would you miss all that credibility, or I mean, the way you build your financial status in the industry? So I will go with the Akshata. I mean, she explained it very well. The need of GST number for your business. I think this must be taken. And if you are some of the guys might have explained, like, you will have to spend extra money to file GST and all those things. So that is not really the question about it. So what you can do is, it will be very easy to file your GST. And also, even if you did not make any business in some months or in a quarter, you can file nil GST by clicking a button on the platform, or maybe you can do it with sending a message to a particular number to file a nil GST. So it's not hard to file GST or knowing your numbers. So we'll be explaining, like, what is GSTR 1 and when you're required to file GST, and what are the complications which may come into the picture. We'll try to explain it so that any non-accounting or not financial, I mean, someone who's not from the financial background will be able to understand, and any techie or any, I mean, engineering background or anyone will be able to understand. These are simple plain numbers which are not very difficult to understand as explained by accountants or CAs. They try to make it so hard to understand. I think it's very common sense. If you're doing a business, it is really easy to understand what GST, what the government try to get out of GST. Okay, let me share my screen. So intention of this is basically educating basic business owners who don't have much idea about the GST or accounting, or how to maintain their books and all. So I'll go with very basic. So any business, I mean, let me categorize a business into a couple of categories. First is, it may be a services business or a good sales and purchase business. By services, I mean, you are providing services to your clients, customers, maybe in the form of coding or any service you provide. Let's say you're doing something for some firm or your customers, and you charge them money while you did not purchase something from wholesaler or manufacturer. So that will come under the services. And when it comes to goods sales and purchase, that says, like, you're purchasing your goods from someone, from manufacturer or from the wholesaler, and keeping some margin out of it, and then selling it to some of your clients. So that will come under goods and sales and purchase. And then the third thing you need to take care of, you're doing anything services or goods thing, you need to be compliant with the government end of the day. So while in services, the very basic thing is when you're in services, you need to invoice your customers, right? That comes under the sales. So whatever invoices you're creating, sharing with your customers and getting money for the same, it comes under the category of invoice, and which may be called as sales also. These are interchangeably words. And then to run a business while it is in service area only, you just need to maintain how many invoices or sales you have done and what are the expenses you incurred to do that sales. If you're you may be single-handedly handling it, but you may have some team, then that may cost resource cost or HR cost comes part of the expenses that you bear to make that services happen. And also, while servicing, some of the customers or clients may ask for quotations or proforma invoice. What quotation or proforma invoice is when you directly do an invoice to your client or a customer. You need to keep records of it. When you're maintaining books of your business, if an invoice is done, that means it has come under the accounting, which maybe you may have to show it to government or at some point in time when anything happens. So before creating an invoice, when you're not sure if the other person is going to make payment for it or they are still checking with some more clients, at that point in time, you create a proforma invoice that includes everything like what is the cost of service and how much GST is going to be applied and what is the total amount they're supposed to pay. So, from a very high point of view, these are the only things they need to keep track of while doing services.
I would like to add in here, whether you are in service or in sales, never ever make a GST invoice before you get payment. We do both sales and service. We've been into trading for the last 5 years and service for the last 4 years. And many a times it happens that a customer wants, especially in sales, they ask for certain item and then they see the entire bill, they change their mind, like, okay, I want this to be reduced, that to be increased, and then you in case you share the invoice, a lot of times what happens is when the iterations happen, even you and your customers get into confusion during filing of GST, which creates an issue because the same amount might not reflect in your accounts. So always make it a practice to first generate a proforma invoice or a quotation. Only when you receive the payment into your account, then convert that into an invoice and share it with your customers.
Very well said, Akshata. And also, even if you do it, even if you create an invoice, the other party deny, like let's say someone has ordered 100 sets of some good, and then they say 80 sets worked fine, but 20 didn't work fine. There are some companies which may not accept proforma invoice and then they make payment against a proper invoice only. In that case, there are provisions of credit note and debit note, but I think you should not get into that complicated thing. It's better to get paid and then create an invoice and show it to government and file the GST. In the later section, I'll explain what sales is and how is it related to GST, what part of GST, what form of GST. There are very low number of complications are there with GST. It's very simple to understand. So next we'll go with the goods business. Like when you're into goods business, there is a possibility. I mean, you will be buying it from some manufacturer or maybe wholesaler to sell it to your clients, and you keep a margin out of it, and you keep on doing that business. And there are a little more complications, like when you become a little bigger into the same, you have lots of goods with you to sell, and it's a little difficult to keep track of all these goods in enough quantity with you, or if you're falling short on some of the goods and all. So it is better to keep an eye on the inventory, like how many goods you had. You might be already doing the same through some Excels or maybe some hard copies, or you're keeping track of it. But when you grow big, it becomes a little difficult to manage it that way, doing it in the Excel, and or maybe like tracking your inventory every day. You going to your place where all the things are selling, and I mean all the thing is happening. So it's better to manage your inventory well. And whatever is falling short of, you should keep some alarm, or keep something for yourself. Like if you have 20 number of some good, let's say it's a mobile shop and you're selling iPhone 14, 13 and 12. You fall short of two handsets of iPhone 12, and then you keep an alarm that as soon as my stock falls short of two iPhone 12, I should get some alarm, or I should get notified so that I can procure it again. So that's what is kind of inventory management you do. And then it's very important to track payments as well. I mean, you may be like, if it is a retail counter, you may be getting payments on the spot itself, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. You sell your goods and then you wait for the payment, and when you grow big, it is a little difficult to track if all the payments have come. And we will tell you how you can track those payments, and some automation or automatic payment reminders may go to your clients or customers to get your payments from. And then when you're into goods business, there is another important thing, is the input tax credit that can be claimed only if you have a GST number. Like, well, let's say you're buying it, you're procuring it from some company, and that company charges GST on that product. Now you need to claim that GST back. Otherwise, it will be really hard to do that business. I think Akshatha can explain it well. I mean, the importance of ITC in goods and sales.
So basically, if you have GST, you are not spending more. So let's say the good is something you bought but cost you like 100 rupees. Okay, the seller is going to add, let's say 18%, which is a standard GST. So you are paying 118 rupees to buy that particular product. If you are not a GST holder, that 18 rupees is like kind of gone in the wind. But if you are a GST holder, when you show your purchases, you can claim this 18 rupees back to the account. So basically, that 18 rupees gets adjusted inside the GST portal. And so basically, you're not paying that GST extra. It is accounted as a part of your business. So it's kind of a saving if you have GST. If you're not having GST number, then you're spending more. So now the billing cycle and sales cycle, just to give a little more depth into how it is done. Now, certain kind of businesses like the retail shop, it is cash and carry. So the customer pays, and then, you can create an invoice. Many a times when the volume goes higher and, the business relationship with your clients get better, many a times they give you only a token advance, and then there is a waiting period, either till the goods are delivered. The customer says that, okay, let me get my material, I will check the stock and then make the payment. Even then, your payment is half. And sometimes if your volumes are higher, it gets difficult to track which customer paid how much advance, how much you need to recover, and maintaining that in Excel is a serious headache. And if you don't have a proper software or a system, it's going to make you crazy. And there are also many times when you have to give credit to your customers, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, according to the norms. There are certain customers who ask you for monthly payments. Let's say if you are in a service business and you charge retainer, okay, you don't want to take the hassle of creating invoice on a monthly basis. If you have a system that does that for you, it saves you time, energy, and also it reminds you that you need to collect XYZ payment from that customer. So, based on the kind of business that you're doing and the relationship with your client or your business model, everything has to be tracked appropriately.
Amazing. So once you're into business, you need to make sure that your business compliances are done. So the very first compliance is GST. For any business with the turnover of over 20 lakh rupees is required to get a GST number. I mean, get himself the company registered with GST. And then for some payments, if you're accepting services from other companies, then there is a compliance of TDS also. Before making a payment to those companies, you need to deduct appropriate TDS against those payments. And then every year you need to file your ITR with the government for a registered firm.
So GST is more relevant to your sales and purchase kind of a business. Your TDS is more relevant when it comes to service kind of a business. Okay, you're giving service to somebody and somebody, now client is paying you. So based upon the kind of payment and the service bracket, they will deduct a TDS and give you a TDS certificate, which you need to claim later. And ITR, everybody knows you need to file the ITR.
So you can claim that TDS only if you're a registered business. So there are some more challenges that any business face. So I'll explain. I mean, I'll try to explain those challenges. So while working with doing any sort of business, you might be required to create invoices or quotations to share it with your clients. Very basic idea is if your quotation or invoice doesn't look professional, doesn't look good, that is going to leave a bad impression to your client, isn't it? So it's better to spend some time creating a good looking quotation or invoice. And I would also recommend not spending a hell lot of time formatting it and all. So it's better to use some system to create quotation and invoices and keep track of it. And then while sharing quotation and invoices, it may be a little difficult to keep track of all the sales you have done. I mean, invoice and sale is one and the same thing. So you need to manage it well with your business. So without any doubt, first impression is the last impression. And then if your invoice doesn't look well, I mean, they may not consider you next time.
Basically, people don't take you seriously if you're, the professionalism doesn't stand out. It's not for every customer, but there are some people like, let's say you have a very huge kind of a kind who's hunting for a new vendor and you come across and you want to make a good impression and share your quotation. Let's make sure it's good. I have seen a lot of people who send me quotations in Excel, or then they take an additional headache of putting it in a letterhead and, copy pasting the table. So when you are, say, using Excel, a lot of business owners do that. I have done that. So I'm in a better position to discuss about this because I have faced so much of challenges here. There's no clarity on business goals when you're actually maintaining it offline, or say, you have books, then somebody has to tally or register. So having a system is better. A lot of people from books change to Excel. But even in Excel, you click some things and lot of times happened with me when I was using Google Sheets. I was trying to upgrade myself from Excel. So I moved to Google spreadsheets, and one click and some of the data got deleted, and God knows what got deleted also. 2-3 times anything gets deleted, you can't do Control Z there. So having a system is always better than just keeping manual records or Excel sheets. And what I have found is having a proper tool or a system gives you a snapshot of the business. Many business owners today, I can tell you, because I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs over the last years. If I ask somebody, okay, what's your turnover last month? Okay, and in fact, I was like that initially into my business, that what was my turnover a couple of months back or 3 years back or 1 year last month, we wouldn't know that, right? So all these things are essential for you to track. We will definitely show you how to do that. So Hemant, can you take us to the live demo and explain these meanwhile, so that it becomes more easy and relevant for everybody to understand?
So let me right away show you the, how you can make use of YourBooks. So I'll directly jump to dashboard. Otherwise, this is the screen you need to log in as security. So let me log in into it and directly jump to the dashboard. So this is what I was trying to explain, and Akshata also mentioned that, like how you can be top on all the numbers of for your business. It's like when you log into your books or maybe the tool, and so as many invoices or expenses that have occurred or quotations you might have shared, and what is the profit you're running for this month, you can right away change it to the last month, and can also do the custom range. So what all dates you want to see for a quarter or for the financial year. So this is the dashboard where you can see these many invoices I have already shared with my clients. So I mean, this is the sale I've already done. These are just the demo numbers for you guys. So this is the expense I have incurred for this particular month. These are the quotations I've already been shared, and I'm running with this profit at this point in time. So this is a spread of invoices, sales, or payments that I have received. So you can see, I mean, on a single page, you get to see where you stand on any day of the month. So I might have set some goal, to focus on for my own business. Like I want to achieve like 2 lakhs of sales for the month, for every month, or maybe for some time. And I want to keep my expenses under 2 lakhs only. So, and I want to send quotation for 10 lakhs every month. And I must receive 10 lakhs of payments every month. And these are just demo numbers for you guys. And this is the comparison with the last month. How much revenue we have made for this month as compared to the last month, payments received for the last month, and payments due as compared to what it was in the last month. So it's a gist of GST that you need to pay. So when you register for GST, I'll explain you like how you need to pay GST and all. You can ignore this row for the time being. This is total GST I'm supposed to pay. This is the input tax credit I can claim, and this is the final GST I'm required to pay for the month. And these are the payments, expense, or invoices or quotations by company, like which company I've sent this invoice to on a very high. And if you want to directly look at invoices and all, you can just click on the invoices and it will show you the invoices, and with all the filters, like if you want to check if what company I have sent these invoices to, and it will show you the invoices as per the company or maybe by the date and all. I'll go from the starting. Let's say you need to create a quotation and you need to send that quotation to any of your business. So primarily, the quotation or invoice can be of type B2B, B2C, or overseas. B2B is you're sending this quotation to another business. B2C is you're selling this directly to end user. And overseas is you're doing a worldwide business and you're trying to share this quotation with a client overseas. So let me start with B2B. And as I said, when I was trying to explain the time spent on quotation and invoice, we claim that you can create a new quotation or invoice in less than 30 seconds. So let's assume that you're trying to create this quotation for Adobe, and let me mention some quantity, the cost, the unit cost, the GST percentage, and then HSN, and that is done. And I say save and download. So I spent hardly about 10 to 12 seconds to generate this quotation to be sent to Adobe. And they accept, I am a vendor with Adobe, and they accept all these quotation and invoices from me. So they primarily cater to it. They're okay with the quotation and invoices. So you need not to, while creating an invoice for any of a client, you need not to worry about like how will you get GST number from a client, but it can be searched on Google, and it is very much public. So this is the GST number for the invoice you wanted to share. You just need to enter the GST number into the tool and press enter. You will see the complete details of the same company. And this is something like whether it is a client or vendor. I can explain you later. Like you will be sharing invoices or sales to client, and will be accepting expenses purchased from vendors only. So I can mark this Kia's Natural as client and vendor both, and then go ahead and save it. Then so what I'm trying to say is, anyway, if you have to generate a quotation or invoice to a very new client, it takes less than 10 seconds to register the client, and that'll be GST compliant. So if you just look at the quotation or invoice generated here, I'll show you the invoice as well. So which is GST compliant. An invoice to be GST compliant, government has mentioned some rules that the number should have. I'll tell you when we generate an invoice for the same. Let me do. I'll save this one. Now, if I go to create invoice or quotation, I just need to select Kia's Natural from here, press enter, and let's say I'm trying to generate an invoice for Kia's Natural, and this is done. I'm done generating an invoice for Kia's Natural in less than 30 seconds. I mean, you can say that I am very used to the system, I know what it is, but even for a new person, it doesn't, I mean, you don't need a rocket science to understand this. I mean, if you can understand Gmail, you will be able to understand it. I mean, if you just look at the left menu, it has dashboard, you need to create quotation, you need to click this, view quotations, invoices, I'll explain the e-way bill and the invoice as well, but I mean, that may not be part of the scope of this particular webinar, but I mean, if you need to understand, if you want to understand, you can just personally check me out and I'll explain that also.
Great, cool. So now that I have, say, received a quotation, I was like, now can we go to view quotations and how do I send it to the client now that I've made the quotation?
Either you can email, I mean, you have downloaded that quotation in the form of PDF, but if you want to send it send from the system itself, it has that option while creating quotation itself that you can directly send that as an email there, save and send email, or you can save and download, or you can preview as well if you want to see how that PDF is going to look like. Don't just check how it is going to look like. It will not have the quotation number. Let me do that for you. Okay. What was the name? Let me do it for Kia's Natural. Paste to.
So the cool thing about this is you can also add who is it created by if your staff is handling it.
Yeah.
So you know who has created the invoice or the quotation.
So it will not have quotation number because it is just a preview of the quotation. That's how it will. Other than quotation number, it will have everything same. And once you generate that quotation, it has your bank details and all down there. So payment can directly be made to the bank. And also a UPI ID can also be added, and the QR code can also be shared with your client so that they can directly make the payment to you. So I just previewed it. If I just save and download, it will. I would have done save and send. Anyways, so once that quotation is ready, let's say you shared this quotation or proforma invoice with your client, and the client says, yes, I'm okay with it. Why don't you send me invoice for the same? Now you need not to enter all these details again. You might have I mean, you can add this discount or flat discount or percentage discount to your client. So you need not to remember all those numbers and everything with you. You just go to the quotation, slide to the right side, and say quotation to invoice. I'll explain, like, you can download the quotation at any point in time. You can resend that quotation to that particular email ID while registering that client, and the quotation will be sent to that ID to that customer with the same PDF. Now I'm trying to show you the quotation to invoice, like to avoid typos and whatever you committed to your client. So everything will remain same. Whatever values you entered, it will come here, and you can send the quotation. I mean, you can convert this quotation. Although there are another couple of fields out there while creating an invoice than quotation. These are PO number. PO number is purchase order number. When you're working with big clients, they have their own system with them, so they can make the payment against a PO number only.
Correct. And many times, big vendors, they send you a purchase order on which you generate a proforma invoice or a quotation. So you enter this particular payment PO number, and whatever is your agreed payment date, you can add it in the remainder days. Let's say you have an agreement saying that 1 month time.
Yep.
Okay, so you can say 30 days. So you also know, and even they know that with that after 30 days, they need to make the payment for this particular invoice. So we have another question: commissions to distributors, how to account it here? Now, let's say I have an invoice to a customer it's come through a distributor who wants to have his or her XYZ commission. So definitely the invoice was made to the client at XYZ amount with a discount, and an additional, say, payment is done to the particular distributor.
You need to add a journal entry into your accounts and books, because that will be a part of payment rather than invoice.
Correct. So it's your commission to distributor is your expense. So that has to be added in a journal entry once you make a payment to them. Let's say I sold a good of, let's say, 50,000 to a customer, and I need to pay 10% as commission to the distributor. So customer is going to give me a payment of 50,000, and say 5,000 I need to pay to the distributor. So I make the payment separately and then add it as expense to journal entry. You won't be making an invoice here, because you're not creating a bill.
Yeah, your client will never expect that payment commission kind of thing in his invoice. So you can directly mark payment for any invoice.
But if your client is also a vendor, then you can give that commission to him as a part of his input credit, right?
You didn't get that.
Now, let's say I am a vendor as well as a supplier to you. And you've given me some clients or something, or I've given you some clients and you need to pay me commissions. So I can give you a credit note or a debit note.
Absolutely.
Correct. So that can be done.
You can directly mark payment for this invoice. Let's say you created an invoice, and as I told you that reminder days, after 30 days of passing this invoice date, if you don't receive that payment against that invoice, there will be automatic reminder that will go to the client as a payment reminder, and it'll keep on going until you stop.
Mark as payment received.
Payment received, yeah.
So let's say I've received the payment, so where do I mark that I've received the particular payment?
Here only. When you go to the view invoice, you can mark that payment for this particular invoice.
Okay, so I go to payments and then I add which is who paid and what is the nature of payment for the invoice number. And let's say if I have received half of the payment, and I mention half of the payment, and the rest amount, let's say the invoice is for 1 lakh, client has paid 50,000, and it will show in the client's name that 50,000 is still pending.
Yep. And you can mention, any custom amount here. It is saying that the invoice amount was, I have already paid the 70,000 for this particular invoice. I think it was for 1,78,000 as a partial payment has already come. So I can make only 22,000 payment against this particular invoice. This invoice came selected. Since I came directly from invoice list, so this invoice will automatically get selected. And you can also mention the TDS amount, whatever comes, like 10%, 2%, or 0%, even if it is 0%, you can mention it. Just for your own accounting books, like after a year time, or maybe after 6 months down the line, you will not be able to remember like why this payment got deducted and all, but we are going to make record of everything. So in ledger, you will get to see everything, like where this much of amount payment was gone and how much was received and all.
This is super important aspect, because when you're working with multiple customers, especially retail or e-commerce, you're making so many invoices, so many deductions happening, and you don't know where what goes. Even in accounting, that 0.1, 0.2, 0.10 makes a lot of difference if it's not getting tallied. So from the first day, it's easier if you kind of make note of each and every, like use the tool to the fullest, to make sure that you're not missing out on the point values.
I'm trying to make payment for, the invoice I just created. I can select the bank account as well. These bank accounts can be done from here. You can specify any current account, or any company may have more than one bank account.
Basically, whichever bank account you are receiving the amount, you can already add it in your profile, and you can choose where you got the payment. Let's say my phone pay is connected to some account, and my Google Pay is connected to some other account, and client did a payment and send you screenshots. After a couple of days, it's going to vanish, but you can at least make a note here. And when you're checking your bank statement, you know that this particular payment came to this particular account.
So let's take that Akshatha example, the invoice I created for Akshatha. I created this invoice for 20,000, and 3,600 was the GST amount. Now Akshata might have deducted in TDS of 10%. So 10% will be 2,000 only. I'll quickly explain this 10% TDS and how this does calculate it. So payment amount was 23,600. As a normal person, if he sees 10% of the TDS, it should be 2360. But it is not done that way. You need to deduct GST amount from the total amount paid, and then 10% applies in the 20,000.
So TDS is deducted on the actual invoice amount without the GST. So exclusive the GST, whatever is the amount, the TDS is calculated on that.
Yep. So once I made the payment for this invoice, this invoice gets marked as paid.
Thank you. I won't be getting any reminders now.
So keep track of your books. You can easily select like what all the invoices have not been paid yet. Select the month for the current month. If you want to keep track of all those who have paid it, you may not mind it. It's fine. They've already paid it, so don't worry about it. So you can select what all invoices have not been paid yet. So you can search out those invoices and can keep track of it.
This is a super useful feature whenever you're giving credit to customer, or if you're in a service-based business and you want to see, if you've received the payment or not, or many a times, you've received the payment, but you've forgotten to add in the system. This is super useful. You can go to your bank statement, check whatever payments you have got and mark it as paid. Now, why is it important to mark it in the system? Because when you're looking at your dashboard and seeing, how good you've done in business, whether you've received the amount of payment, and you remember we set a goal for business. And I think every day, the first thing I do is open my, billing software. And if I open that and if I'm looking at a goal, don't you think it is going to keep you motivated? Let's say if you have a target of, I want to achieve, say, 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs of sales, per month, and say 1 crore of sales per year. Don't you think first day in the morning, somebody is reminding you what your business goal is going to make you excited to chase your customers for that particular day? For me, I think that is something very, very interesting that nobody else does. So can I download the sales purchase sales there and upload it into the system here? Or is there any other way to integrate?
Yes, you need to share that the complete file with us. We'll let you integrate with the Amazon, with the Flipkart, with Myntra. I think a couple of more platforms we have already integrated, and you can integrate those invoices, sales or purchase or expense, into YourBooks easily.
So can I directly download or upload, or should I send it to the customer service?
You need to share it. You need to share it with us, and we will do it for you.
Okay, so I think that's in the pipeline for YourBooks to make a bulk upload. So you need to file your GST. Can you? I think Hemant should be the right person. When should I file my GST? Which date? What should I file?
There are a couple of dates for GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. GST is filed twice a month. GSTR 1, that depends on your frequency. You may choose, if your turnover is less than 2.5 CR, you may choose frequency of GST as quarterly, when you need to file GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B once in a quarter. And the deadline for GSTR 1 is 10th for a monthly frequency. The person who has chosen frequency as a month. 11th of every month is the date to file GSTR 1. GSTR 1 is nothing else but the sales. I'll explain you in a bit. And GST date for GSTR 3B is 20th of every month, where you need to we need to explain, you need to tell government everything, like what you did in the last month. So that is called GSTR 3B. GSTR 3B is nothing but sales and purchase. That's it. 95% of the people think is done in GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. You need not to care about any other GST form to be signed. So GSTR, I'll explain you on the tool itself. I'll show you how does that happen. I can quickly walk you through the product invoice as well, how easy this product invoice can be created. But last time I generated a service invoice for Akshatha, and product invoice can also be created, super quickly, quicker than the service invoice itself. So product invoice can be like, you need to register this product that I'll show you in the inventory, where you can save your product, store, and categories. So I've already saved these two products, water purifier and water store. I mean, these are just demo purpose. So I chose this water purifier, and then you need not to mention, you need not to remember what is the unit cost of the product, what is the GST percentage I need to apply, what HSN or HSN number I need to choose out of that. But you can just specify the quantity, and let's say I try to sell 1,000 quantity, while the available quantity may be less. So that you will be given a reminder that like you will be given a warning window that you may not have 1,000 units of water purifier available with you. But I mean, then you can still say yes or no. I mean, you can say yes, I know, I'll procure it more, and you send the invoice or quotation to your client. You can also choose a flat percentage or the percentage amount, exact percentage. Flat says like the unit cost of the product is 9523, and you want to put a discount of 500 rupees on this. This will be like, then the final cost will be 9023, and the percentage says you want to specify you want to give 10% of discount to your customer. Let's go with 500 pieces and download it. So you can see the discount amount there. The final amount was 9023. Discount of 500 rupees was applied on that. You might have noticed that discount word was not there in the earlier invoice. So the reason for that is, like, if you're not giving a discount, if the discount is 0%, we will not mention it on the invoice or quotation. Because if you mention that word discount and mark it as 0%, the other person he'll get confused. I mean, giving me 0% discount. So if discount word exists, that means they are giving discount to some other people. So why not ask for the discount? So to cater to that thing, if discount is 0%, it will not come on the invoice. But if you mention the discount word will come here, and this discount will be shown over here. So the quantity was 1,000. You gave discount of 500 rupees. The total discount was 5 lakh rupees, and the total amount was this. I hope I made that clear. I think just for the scarcity of time, I'll quickly walk you through the features available. Quotation, I've already shown you. Invoice, create invoice, I've already shown you. View invoice, the list of invoice you're seeing right now on the list system. There is another thing is recurring invoice. I'll quickly walk you through that. So recurring invoices, let's say you need to raise an invoice to your customer every week, every month, or maybe every year. Let's say you are selling one software product on a subscription base, and you want to, and then you don't want to do, you want to create invoice every month. I mean, on first of every month for hundreds of your customers. So you can mention that invoice as recurring invoice, and can mention the frequency of the invoice is monthly, weekly, or yearly, and can mention the start date and end date of the same. So that invoice will start coming here, and it will show you that these are the inactive recurring invoices. I mean, whose final date has passed, and then you will see green. I mean, list in green that says these are active recurring invoices. You can search it, you can stop it, you can delete that. Let's say the other party denies that I don't want to pay it anymore, or I mean, we are not using your product. You can delete that recurring invoice from this. There's e-way bill and e-invoices. E-way bill is something like when it is a transfer of goods. I mean, the value of goods is more than 50,000, and it is an interstate transfer. It is mandatory to create e-way bills for that particular invoice. And it is super easy to create e-way bill again. From the recurring invoice itself, you can select, I want to create e-way bill for this particular invoice. You need to mention that e-way bill username and password. This is one-time setting. Once you enter the username and password correct, it will save your credentials, and will use those for creating an e-way bill.
So GST, for those who don't know, GST has its own portal for e-way bill. That's a different portal for which you get username and password. So once you set it up, you don't have to go to a different portal to generate your e-way bill. You can create it right here.
Yep. Same way it goes with the e-invoice. E-invoice is applicable to the companies whose turnover is more than 10 CR. So the payments, like you mark payments against your invoices. What all payments have been created for this. I mean, I think I created a payment as natural as 23,600, for which IGST was 3,600, 2,000 was the TDS, and I mean, we have this original currency thing. What this original currency is, when you create an invoice in different currency, let's say you're sharing an invoice to a client in US or maybe in Australia, then you create that invoice in you must create that invoice in their currency itself. That is in AUD in for Australia, or USD for US, GBP and all. So we have those currencies available. But to maintain your books and to keep records for you, you must be seeing this the amount in base currency itself. So since I created this in INR itself, it has INR. Let me see if I created something in the past. No, it doesn't have any different currency INR. If you let's take an example, you created an invoice for 1,000 USD for a US client, then it will come here as 1,000 USD as original currency of the payment or the invoice, and here it will be shown as something like 82,000 INR, which is the base currency you might have mentioned while setting up the company. So I showed you like making the payment directly from invoice itself through the link. You can also make the payment directly make the payment from here. You can select invoice number. You can, to make it easy, let's say you created 3 or 4 invoices to a same company. You can select multiple invoices here, and these must belong to us to one company only. And it keeps increasing, like the adding all these amount for these 3 invoices. If you try to save this, even after adding mandatory fields, if these 3 invoices belong to a different company, it will not let you add that. It will not let you save that. That is because of some account complications. To avoid those complications, it will not let you add in payment for different companies coming into one entry.
So it's very useful when you're generating multiple invoices and your customer, pays all together at once. So we have some customers who do monthly payments. So they keep purchasing, and once in a month they make payments. So it is useful in that case.
So as I said, you can directly enter the payment from here itself. This is the client and the vendors. You can see the list of vendors you have. You can search. I think we added Tharuni Enterprises, and we entered Kias. So you can search the list from here. And you can add any client or vendor from here. As simple as that. You just need to mention. Let's take an example. I did not show you the B2C invoice.
Yeah, when your customer is a non-GST customer.
Yep. So either when you're creating an invoice, there are lots of time it happens like it's a direct. You are a retailer and selling it to a direct customer. So you need to choose it from here as B2C, and you need to enter all the customer details here. You can select anything. Also, like if it is a repeated customer, you can save this customer as well in your list. And you need to specify the GST number for that customer as NA. And you can save that customer from here, enter NA. If you enter anything else, it will not accept it. Either it needs to have a right GST number or NA here in this particular field. You enter NA, save the client name, and you can save it, then can use it while creating invoices quickly. Expense is like when you're procuring something, you are a goods and services provider. Let's say you procured goods from some vendor, you need to add that expense into your list. I'll also show you that very quickly, like how you can enter those expenses super quick. So let's go to GST itself. Before explaining this ITC, let me explain first GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. So GSTR 1 is one of the GST compliance that you need to follow. And GSTR 1 is nothing else but whatever sales you do, you need to show it to the government. That is it. You can ignore this credit note and debit note part, but it is just sales for you. You can specify a report period as March, April. So it will show you all the invoices raised in the month of April, in the month of March. If you're doing it for April, it will show you all the invoices for the month of April. That's it. The guy is saying GST is a complicated thing or what? To file GSTR 1, you need to just select the month for which you're trying to file the GSTR 1 and just say submit GSTR 1. It will do the rest of the thing for you. It will send, I cannot do it right here because it will file that April GSTR 1 for me. I have entered my own GST number for this.
So this is a live account where Hemant's GST username and password is already in the system. So whenever you need to file GST, now you don't have the hassle of creating an Excel file, sending it to a CA, they doing the job.
It will ask you for the payment in GSTR 3B only. GSTR 1, you're just
Sorry.
submitting your invoices to government.
Correct, the GSTR 3B. So basically everything from the system directly goes to the GST portal and there is no need to rework on anything.
So there are no typos. You need not to, copy paste anything. You need not to do it on Excel and while sharing with CA. So there are a hell lot of scope of typos. Once you are calculating it yourself, then you're sharing it with CA, then CA is again looking into those Excel sheets and then entering it manually into the GST portal. So, 10 to 15% is the record rate, which goes wrong. And then again, you get into the hassle of correcting all those things again.
Correct. So if the GST portal allows you to resubmit, the system will allow you to resubmit.
Yep. So GSTR 1 is done. That's it. There's nothing, no rocket science in GSTR 1. And there are just two compliances you need to take care of is GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. That's it. And there's a third thing, which is input tax credit. That is for your benefit only. I'll explain you what it is. Government doesn't mandate that you need to check input tax credit or something. Government says it is mandatory to do GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. So iterating it again, GSTR 1 is just the sales. And let me go to GSTR 3B. GSTR 3B is nothing but your sales and expense. That's it. So that says this is your sales for the month of April. This is your expense. This is all the data we have just entered. As I created an invoice for Kia's Natural, create 2 invoices Kia's. So these are the, whatever you are doing on the system, do it right, and it will show you. GSTR 3B is nothing but combination of your sales and expense. That's it. And yeah, the page will explain this is your sales, this is your expense. I'll tell you the concept of input tax credit as well. And then deducting the sales and expense, this is the GST you need to pay. It has calculated everything. And you just need to submit GSTR 3B here. That's it. Don't worry about this credit note and debit note. I'll tell you later on this.
So once you click on submit GSTR 3B, for the first time, it will ask you for your GST username and password, and then it goes.
No, it will not even ask you the GST username and password. It will ask you for the OTP. Even at the time of GSTR 1, it will take the OTP and let you file your GSTR 1. While doing it for the GSTR 3B, there's one restriction that government has not allowed anyone to take money on behalf of customers. So any GST money, any GST you're supposed to pay to government, you need to pay that to government directly. So we cannot accept payment. You need to pay that GST amount to government, and then you can finally submit your GSTR 3B.
Who is eligible for GSTR 1 and 3B?
Every GST holder is eligible for GSTR 1 and 3.
So GSTR 1 is your sales, and 3B is basically your sales and purchase. Now that Hemant will explain when we are going through input tax credit and why this GSTR 3B is there. The next question is there any cap on the sales and revenue bracket?
Never. Why will government stop you from doing many sales?
Government wants you to show how much money you're making and how much business you're making. So there's no cap.
There's one limitation, creating an invoice. The maximum amount of invoice can be created from the system is 99 CR only. You cannot create invoice more than 99 CR. And I have not found anyone who has complained about it. I've not seen anyone creating invoice for more than 199 CR. And not just 99 CR, 99 lakhs, 999. It does not go beyond that number.
So I believe that there's a lot of confusion when it comes to ITC and 3B. So can we quickly have what exactly it is and where can mistakes happen and how are we avoiding it? So now, whenever you're doing business, there is sales and purchase. Now, let's say you purchased an item and definitely you pay GST. So let's take a small number to make it easier. It's like say 100 rupees of item. And along with the GST, it's 118 rupees. So you have paid 118 rupees and purchased an item. Now you are selling it for 125 rupees, for which you are collecting, the GST amount, which is 21 rupees. So both you as a buyer, when you buy, the seller, any case, seller has to upload into the GST portal. So out of the 21 rupees, you have already paid 18 rupees. So only the balance amount has to be paid to the government to show that yes, you did a sale and purchase, and that is what is ITC. So this is input of your tax credits. So basically, when you're purchasing and you have 18 rupees, that is a tax which is paid, that is coming to you as a credit. So when you show sales and purchase both, based on the HSN value and a lot of other things, your tax of purchase and tax of sales are tallied, and then there is an XYZ amount. If the purchase is higher, then you don't have to pay anything. If your sales is higher, then whatever is the difference amount is, you need to pay that to the government. And it will also carry forward to the next month in case your purchases are higher. Let's say you have made a purchase where the tax is, say, for 1 lakh, the tax amount for 1 lakh, but you have made sales and only 50,000 is the tax for the sales of goods. So there is a difference of 50,000 now. So this 50,000 is already with you because you've already paid to somebody when you're making a purchase. So this stays there. And next month when you do sales, this is accounted for.
Very, very, very
great. So you are not making any mistakes in showing your business credibility. So let's go ahead and quickly see how this GSTR 3B and ITC. ITC is another very, very cool feature that I fell in love with, because me as a business owner, when I'm purchasing from Amazon Business and I'm purchasing from a lot of places, I know manually when I am, making a purchase from a vendor, I have a purchase invoice and that is entered into a system. But when I am doing any other kind of business purchase, let's say Amazon, or let's say I have used my GST number somewhere else for a purchase, let's say a hotel where they have done a billing, there are many times where I have missed out on adding that into my system. And it becomes a little more confusing. And only in the GST portal, when the say vendor uploads, I know that it is there. So this feature I really found very, very useful in YourBooks, and I would love for you to show this in detail.
Sure, thank you. So now when it comes to input tax credit, government has divided into two types. One is GSTR 2A, the second one is GSTR 2B. GSTR 2A is called the dynamic ITC. It keeps coming as soon as a person is filing their GSTR 1. So again, to make it clear, when you file GSTR 1, so you showed all the sales data to government that I have done this much sales and I have collected this much tax out of that sales. So I will be depositing this GST to you later on 20th of the month. So government has got to know that this particular company A has collected this much GST, and they have, if these are part of B2B invoices, I have sold something to other business also, then that business is supposed to claim that credit out. So once I file that GSTR 1, I'm telling the government that I have collected 18 rupees of tax from company 2. So government will show that 18 rupees of tax to company 2 and will be telling them that company A has filed their GST and they're telling us that they have paid a GST on your behalf. So you can claim that input tax credit. So that is what input tax credit is. Now the dynamic credit is what? People keep on filing on different dates. Like people keep on filing GSTR 1. This has to be done before 10th of the next month, but you can file it at any point in time, once, first, second, third, or anytime you feel like filing it. So the dynamic credit says as and when the other person keeps filing their GSTR 1, that input tax credit will keep on coming here. Now for the month of April itself, I can see all these input tax credit for my company. These are the original ones. So I can see all these input tax credit coming my way. But government says to claim this input tax credit, that has to come into GSTR 2B. So GSTR input tax credit for the month is generated after 14th of every month. So that whenever I mean, GSTR 2B says when everyone is done filing their GSTR 1, then only I will show you the records, or they'll show you invoices which you can claim GSTR for. So I'll do it for the February. We'll hide these numbers, right? These are my original invoices that has been raised to me. So the government says like these are the companies who have deposited GST for you, whether it's Razorpay, Darshita, or whatsoever these are. I mean, even if I have bought something from Amazon, they will also keep coming here. And now I might have missed their invoice, or I might have not done that into YourBooks. So what I can do is I can directly go and click this button as add to YourBooks. And for the month February, yes, okay. So this expense has been added into YourBooks. Let me check that expense. I did it for SpiceJet, right? Here it comes. So you just did one click and that invoice is available to you. Invoice number, where it has come from, SpiceJet, what was the GST amount without GST, total amount, everything is there. Added on what date? I mean, we have added on 2nd of April, so it says that. GST claim date is, I mean, that since that was a part of April month, so it says GST to be claimed in the month of February, while filing it for February. So even if you miss any invoice you have received where you're supposed to get GSTR for, you can just check who all people have submitted their GST and GST to the government. You can claim directly from here. Once it is done here, it will come into the GSTR 3B as well. When you look at the GSTR 3B for the month of February, it will say receive invoices from SpiceJet. So it will come as part of your input tax credit.
So what happens when somebody has not filed their GST? A lot of times happen that people do miss out, or they are in a quarterly cycle and somebody is in a monthly cycle. Then what happens?
Let me tell you, I mean, let's say you paid to one of your vendor and the vendor might have not filed the GST. So how to check that? Let's say ideally you should be adding expense from here. Let's say for the month of February, I'm saying that on the 8th of February, the invoice number was, I mean, some party raised their invoice, any number. I mean, I can write any number here. Let's say Ansible. And nature of expense, let's say food amount, I paid 18% of GST. Now let's say I made some payment to Jaina India Private Limited, and this Jaina India Private Limited might have not filed GST, or maybe I don't want to call Jaina as a defaulter or something, but just keeping an example. If you go to input tax credit list for the month of February, the color code black says this was the invoice raised at YourBooks, and this is the invoice that has been deposited, I mean, by the other party. So you're perfectly fine. Red says these are the invoices available. This is the input tax credit available for you, but you have not saved it. So the red says you must save it to claim this input tax credit. And now the third thing is, this is the amount, Jaina India Private Limited. Although this was I just entered it like that. It says you made a GST, IGST of 15252 to Jaina, and you made the payment for this. You registered this as expense for you, but they have not deposited GST yet for the month of February.
So this is not only adding it into my software, but also taking it into consideration while filing my GST, right?
Yep. And also, just to make sure, you can send email to Jaina that you might have not filed GST for this month. You must file it, or I'll stop payment. I mean, stop payment for this particular invoice. I mean, this is called reconciliation of the records, reconciliation of expenses.
This is one of the most cool features that I found, which is not available in any other software. So let's quickly just go to quick glance of the inventory. A lot of people who are in, say, doing an e-commerce or, having stock, this is a feature that I also like because we work from multiple warehouses and, so many different products. We have 3,000 SKUs and we have our own website. So it's very difficult to track sometimes.
So this inventory we have categorized into store, category, and product as well. So let's take an example of a Hercules cycle vendor, or maybe Firefox cycle vendor, who has his main showroom at MG Road and has go downs at 3 or 4 places. So he would like to maintain the stock as per stores, as per categories. Categories maybe Hercules. What all models are there? Let's say thin tires and maybe thick tires and all. So he may have, he may categorize maybe in the form of accessories and then the main model, and then he can keep it in different stores. He can say one store in sector 14, one store in sector 47, one store in sector 91. So when he's selling that product, he can choose where he wants to sell this product from. Maybe there may be a case that a person near in sector 14, a person from sector 15, he would like to deliver the product from sector 14 itself, and then maybe someone from sector 50, he would like to deliver that product from sector 47 itself. Now, while creating that invoice, he can choose which store and which product he's making that payment for. So let me quickly save a store just for the demonstration.
So basically, when you're entering your inventory, you can choose multiple store locations. And while creating invoices, you can choose from which particular, say, store or warehouse that inventory is being dispatched, so that you, end of the month, you exactly know that, let's say, your warehouse one had so many dispatches, and this is the remaining stock. And then you have the overall business stock as well, which is really nice for people who are doing, say, drop shipping or have multiple warehouses or multiple stores as well. I just got an idea. Maybe let's say a lot of people are today are on e-commerce, and even in e-commerce, you need to maintain an inventory of, say, you need to show inventory. So here in store, you can mention the warehouse that say that Amazon and Flipkart and eBay or whatever, and mention what is the stock amount that you have mentioned there. So even when you are doing bulk uploads for Amazon, it knows exactly that these sales are from Amazon, and then your stock for Amazon has reduced. So you don't even have to go to the Amazon portal and check whether the stock is reduced or not. You will know exactly if the stock is reduced. So you have to go there and increase inventory. I know a lot of people. Let's say I am a wholesaler and I am buying a product. I have it in my place, and let's say I have 1,000 pieces. Then I want to show a stock of 100 on Amazon, say 250 on eBay, depending upon where I'm getting more sales of which particular product. So this is even useful for e-commerce platforms to mention your stores.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, Akshata. Thank you very much. So let me quickly add a new product. Then I can choose, let's say, face wash. Herbal, what do you call your face wash? Organic?
Healthy face wash डाल दो, very common.
Now I can choose Akshata Store 1 category as I didn't add a category. Let's say water purifier, just for the examples. Now, what is the quantity I have at this point in time? Let's say I have 100, and I want to be alerted when the quantity goes below 10. And also this quantity will be considered while creating an invoice or quotation. Let's say if you try to create a quotation for organic face wash for more than 100 units, maybe 110, it will show you warning that the remaining quantity, the quantity available with you is 100 only, and you're creating an invoice for or quotation for 110. Now, it will leave it to your mindset. Your decision that do you still want to create the quotation or invoice, or you want to stop, or whatever you want to do it. If you say yes, it will create a quotation or invoice, and in the meantime, you can procure more product for the same. And or if you say no, you might want to procure that product first and then sell it, or then raise the quotation for.
This is useful. Let's say you have multiple products, and even at times when people ask you, hey, do you have stock of this? I want it urgently. So you can just go to the billing system, type in the product, and see whether you have stock left or not.
Absolutely.
I use it in that way. So many a times when people suddenly send on WhatsApp, hey, I want this product.
And this is the feature asked by Akshata only. Like it was earlier, it was like we were taking selling prices including GST. So it can be, you can specify the price of the product, so that when you're creating an invoice, you need not to say what was the selling price and what I need to keep, what was the GST percentage for this particular product, because the GST percentage may vary on different products. It may vary from 0 to 28%. So you need to specify that GST percentage once here while adding that product into your inventory. You can mention the price as, is this price 270, is that inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST? And then you want to see, what is the MRP of the GST? And these alert email IDs and alert mobile numbers are what? When the product quantity goes below the alert quantity, these emails, if these are not mandatory fields, if you don't mention this, then the alert will go to the company's main email ID.
Yeah, if you have a procurement manager or a procurement division, you can definitely add that, which is super useful. So they know that it is, going down, and then you can make a decision of restocking it. So Hemant, here, when I see that the rate is inclusive of GST is 270 and I have a GST percentage of 18, is the MRP calculated automatically, or is it something that we have added manually?
MRP is the MRP of the product. Selling price is at what rate, at what price you want to sell this product to.
Okay. So it is just like, giving discount. It shows 310 slash and then it shows 270 on the shopping sites. So it's similar to that. The display price is your MRP and the billing price is basically your selling price.
I did not add an image. So I added a product. I kept it as a store, Akshatha store 1. You can also, like, if you don't have multiple stores, you want to add that complication into inventory, you can leave that store and category blank, and it will not consider that. It will just show as organic face wash while raising an invoice. So I need to go to invoice when I'm creating this invoice. This is, since this is a product invoice, I need to select product, and then this invoice, this thing is available. This the product we stored. The quantity, you can mention the quantity, the unit price. Since we mentioned that, how much amount did we mention? 270. So this unit cost is, since we mentioned that amount as inclusive of tax, so this is calculated by the percentage of 18% GST. This much will be the difference of GST will be there, and this is the unit.
It is showing the exclusive GST amount.
Yep.
Can you enter like more than 100? I know we invented the quantity as 100.
As soon as I entered 150, it says the quantity available for this product is less than what you're trying to quote. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes or no? You can do that. Let me say again, if I say no, it will reduce that quantity to 1. Or whatever you want to mention. Let's say I raise this from 90, and you need not to mention anything else. This is the description I added there. This will come on the invoice. The cost price mentioned.
Where do I choose the store?
Here, it says store name Akshatha store 1.
Okay. So it is, so if you have the same product in multiple warehouses, it will show you the product name along with the store name, so that you can choose from which store you want to, remove the product. And
for the ease of useness, it says the quantity remaining with you is 100 only. And quantity remaining is 10, 997, 1176. Too much, right? I chose this one, so it and I need to raise this to B2B or B2C, all rounders. So this is the invoice we created. Organic face wash, no chemical face wash. That's I mentioned. So I got it. The quantity 90, the unit cost 228, amount is this, GST was this. So this is the total amount. This is the IGST. And let me quickly go through the rest of the features available. I won't spend much time on it. Then we'll keep that Q&A session for 10 minutes. So, it has ledgers. Ledger is required, to see how is your business doing. It has, you saw invoices, payments, expense, sales. So this ledger is combination of everything. Purchase, invoice, expense, and if you want to choose something specifically, you want to see, you want to see the ledger for the month of April, or maybe for the complete financial year, you want to choose.
So it's just like your bank statement where you're seeing how much has come and how much has gone. YourBooks will be adding a lot more features coming forward, so that you can have a dashboard of say your sales and purchases and lot more things. Maybe you want to see as per client, you can go to the clients and see. So it's a super useful feature. And I think we've covered almost all of it.
It is just that refer and earn and the setting part where you can spend. I mean, you might be seeing on the dashboard what is my goal, what is my expense, what are my fixed expense. You can mention everything right there. This is the company details. This is the one-time setup that you need to do. You can need to specify your company name, your SIN number, TIN number. Everything comes on the invoice. I'll quickly walk through it.
Yeah.
And this is the address. I mean, again, as soon as you mention GST number, it will automatically get address for you, the company name. The essentials like PAN number, bank name. One bank name is mandatory to mention while adding a company, although you can mention multiple banks from here. I'll show you where you can see this is signature. I did not specify signature, so it was not showing up on my invoice. I can upload my signature file here. This is the company logo that shows up here. And this is the base currency you can mention if you're working in USD, INR, or AED, or whatever currency. And then let me quickly go through the bank accounts. You can add multiple bank accounts. This is the default bank account. I mean, just for the ease of and saving time, we have one default bank account that will automatically be selected while creating quotation, invoice, adding payments or expense.
Basically, whichever bank you want a customer to pay to, you select that as a default bank account.
Yes.
The other bank accounts are basically in your doing accounting, from where you send the payment, where you receive the payment, you have the ease of choosing the specific bank. So this is all, the basic profile setting. Once you have the access for your books, this is one-time setting that you need to do.
You can have multi users into the profile. I mean, you need not to share your passwords with your subordinates or maybe colleagues. They can do it on their own. So you can add those users from here.
If you have somebody in accounting section or somebody who's a manager, you can give them. So if they want to refer to the sales purchase, you can give one access to the inventory manager who can enter your stock, somebody in the billing department. So you have multiple roles.
This is the fixed expense and target part where you want to specify what is my target, what is my fixed expense, payment target, invoice target, quotation target, rent of the premises, which comes under the fixed expense only. Other mix. These are the fixed expense that that are always calculated while showing you the dashboard. And this is the HSN SAC. If you're confused, what is the HSN of your product, you can select it from this. This takes a little time, about 5 to 10 seconds, because it has a number of 17,000 HSN SAC comes here. You can search what is the HSN or SAC for service and all. You can search it from here and can choose the right HSN or SAC while adding a product or services. This is the GST status. Like if you're dealing with a client or you're dealing with a vendor, you want to check the status of the vendor, if he's a true, if he's a valid vendor or not. What time did he do all that? This is to find that. Help feedback, you can call anytime to us. And this is we automatically populate your name, that you mentioned, and then you can write a message or additional details. If you want to see some improvement there, you're always more than welcome to do that. And this is just refer and earn. If you refer it to someone, this is the total earnings to do that and total reference. I think I'm done. We're just left with 9 more minutes. I'm sorry about it.
Thank you so much, Hemant. So the biggest question now, we've seen the tool to be so amazing. How does one get access to your books? And is it going to cost me a bomb? Because I am a super beginner in business. Is it very expensive? This is Sona. So if you can share 2 minutes, quick highlight on that. I'm sure everybody is eager to know.
Sure. You can register right away through the website itself. It's app.yourbooks.in. And we have web application, we have mobile application. We are available on iOS and Android also. In some of the session, I can go through the mobile apps as well. So we are available on iOS, mobile, iPads, or tabs also. We are on Macs in the version of M2 or above. So majorly all mobile applications available, and it is going to cost you, I mean, merely 500 rupees a month.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So, those of you who do want to sign up for YourBooks, you can go to app.yourbooks.com. So there it is completely a web-based application. So you can use it through your Google Chrome. So you can create invoices through your Android or iPhone. It is super easy and super simple when you're traveling or busy, stuck with something and customer wants really quick invoice. A lot of times it does happen with us. And I would like to thank Hemant for that lovely, beautiful session. This was the first session of many of a kind that is about to come. So if you have still not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe to Cosme by Kias.
Thank you, Akshita. Thank you, everyone. I hope you had some information, had some knowledge. I was able to do some today.